Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in New York City, a few days before Christmas. We're in Midtown Manhattan with all the excitement that creates. I'm glad we're upstairs here, nice and quiet. This is the Tibet Center, Kunchab Tardulinga Buddhist Meditation and Study Center. And this is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma, specifically excerpts from His Holiness's most modern books on secular ethics. And tonight we'll be doing some excerpts from this book called Answers. Very interesting. These are answers to students who asked him questions at Bodh Gaya. If there's anyone who has passed away recently, wish us to remember when we say the Sutra of the Recollection of the Three Jewels, place their names in the chat box. All the prayers we say are on the Tibet Center website. In the FAQ section, scroll down to prayers. So the first prayer we'll say will be the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. As I said, they're all available on the website if you don't have a copy. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi, praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering and the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. So once in a while we mention that no is a qualified no. It doesn't mean there's no, it's no inherent no. But that takes some study to get a background to understand. But that no doesn't mean there's no suffering. There's suffering. There's something there. So just that we have to learn. So good evening. Nice to have you. Just got back from Shanghai? Good. Generating Bodhicitta is the title. It's Refuge in Bodhisattva Vow. We say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. And as is tradition, put ourselves in a good mind, we recite 1 round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, who personifies great compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Om Mani Padme Hum. We have a drill sergeant next door. It's part of the game. It's okay? Okay. So tonight it's going to be a little different, but in terms of the secular ethics approach, the first question that we're going to have His Holiness answer is something simple. Maybe you wondered about it. The question is from this book, Answers, 2002. It was put out, it's compiled by Professor Cabezon, Jose Cabezon, ex-monk, who's head of the Buddhist program in University of Santa Barbara in California, where it's nice and warm now. So these were students asking His Holiness questions. They were at his teachings in Bodh Gaya. So the first question is very simple. Can Your Holiness comment on the power of a holy place, such as Bodh Gaya? What makes virtuous activities performed here more powerful and worthy of more merit? Because people say, I have to go there, I make offerings. And he says, I don't know. No, he didn't say that. Check AI. No, he said, the fact that many holy beings, spiritually advanced practitioners, stay and practice in certain places makes the atmosphere or environment of that place change. Now, his mind can see that. Most of us, we don't, I don't know. The place gets some imprint from the person. It's affected by it. Then, when another person who does not have much experience or spiritual development comes and remains in that place and practices, he or she can obtain certain special kinds of experience. Though, of course, the right type of motivation and certain karmic forces must also be present in the person as contributing factors for such an experience to come about. Yeah, you just can't come there and be, you have to be open, receptive, and good motivation, etc. But there's a reason. It's something that's palpable. Almost you could touch it, in other words. According to the tantric teachings, at important places there are non-human beings like dakinis, we have them in class tonight, who have bodies that are much more subtle than those of humans. We can't see them, high spiritually advanced beings can, but sometimes they show up in forms that we can see and we can interact with them. Shouldn't interrupt. When great spiritual practitioners stay in a certain place and perform meditation and rituals there, that place becomes familiar to beings like dakas and dakinis, so that they may inhabit the place and travel around it. As indications of this, sometimes one may notice an unusual noise or smell that seems to have no particular reason for existing. These beings do show up. I remember one time when Tara Rinpoche was giving White Tara initiation in Tibet Center on Broadway. Jungla Rinpoche stayed home because if he'd show up there, it means he's being a student, but he was at a high level. So he asked me a lot of questions. And he said, did two beautiful women show up? I said, yes. There were two women very well dressed, so pretty and everything. I couldn't have any, lustful thoughts about them. They were just like, and they didn't say anything, and they said hello, and hello, Tony, and then they went on, and then all of a sudden they left. Ha ha ha, I started laughing. So sometimes these high practitioners have beings show up. Last time Ling Rinpoche was here, 3 very well-dressed women, very modern. They looked like they came out of Vogue magazine. Young, very pretty, sat on the side, and I said, Nikki, oh, they're from Tibet. No, they're not. They're speaking English perfectly. And they also suddenly got in a car, all 3 of them suddenly appeared and just left. Sometimes these high lamas have beings that attend there and they impress us, somehow. I don't know. You remember Kamto Rinpoche's encounter with the White Tara, that he was on retreat and he saw the beautiful woman appeared and he started getting, excited. Oh, and she said, don't you know me, brother? Calling him brother makes it different. There's a different dynamic of it. And it was Tara that took him on a vision to Shambhala. He flew over Shambhala with her and she pointed out things and he came back. This is on tape and it's in his book. It's both his biography and it's my journey to Shambhala. So, and he gave the talk before the Kala Chakra initiation. We taped it. We've shown it in the Tibet Center. We could show it again.
Yeah, I think one of the Rinpoches that talking about that that see the Tara and then travel in the.
It was a vision. He was in retreat. Yeah, not sleeping dream. He calls it a dream because of Milam or something. That's something like that.
He was talking in the Brooklyn or Center was rented in
We showed the thing in Brooklyn, yes, we did. Yeah, and we still have it. It's on VHS. Darren hides it. No, he doesn't. Anyway, it's very interesting. So they are, when great say in a certain place, and noises or smells. There are indications that some higher beings, different beings who have more experience, are inhabiting or traveling through that place. This could also be a fact influencing whether or not a place is considered special. In addition, as for Bodh, we know that the Buddha himself must have chosen this place for a particular reason. This we believe. Due to the power of his prayer, later, when his followers actually come to this place, they may feel something. Hence, the power of the Buddha's prayers could also be a factor. It starts a momentum going. And it's out of compassion. Whoever comes here, may they improve their minds, or whatever they say. I don't want to speak for him. Perhaps we must take human psychological factors into account as well. For example, Mahayana Buddhists feel strongly toward Shakyamuni Buddha, toward Nagarjuna, etc. In my own case, I have a strong feeling towards the Buddha, towards Nagarjuna, Arya, Sangha, and to all these great beings. So when you stay at the place where these people were born and remained, you feel something. If you use this feeling in the right way, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's the easy one. A little tourism here. Now, this is His Holiness is going to describe the levels of the mind. Now, why are we talking about this? It's supposed to be secular ethics. Whether you're Buddhist or not, your mind is the same as everyone's. These rules apply, whether you believe or not. It's like cause and effect. You don't have to believe in it, but it's always working. Just because you don't believe doesn't mean it doesn't work. So we leave it at that. So, could Your Holiness, the question now, feel free, by the way, to discuss every point here. There's nothing, there's family here. There's no special, no lamas are here, just me. So, could Your Holiness say something about growing open to one's own inner guru? And also something about the absolute guru. You hear outer, inner, and secret, inner guru. You hear the Zen teachers say, if you see Buddhas coming at you, kill them. Something external. They're trying to indicate, if they talk that forceful language in the Zen tradition. I'm trying to tell you that you got to go in. So His Holiness says, and he takes this very slowly, and it's very thick. He's blending it with the Dzogchen and Mahamudra viewpoints, among other things. He's so well read, so erudite, and of course, he's Avalokiteshvara, so at least I believe that. You don't have to. All right, here's what he says. In general, there's said to be an inner guru, an outer guru, and a secret guru. Secret guru. What do those terms mean? They're loaded. And a lot of people that don't stick around to understand the total meaning put their own meaning on it and go crazy, and go off the trail. Let's listen to what he says. This is explained in different scriptures, and there are some slight differences in the way these concepts are interpreted or explained in Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya, and Gelug, the four main schools of Tibetan Buddhism, four orders, you might say. Likewise, there are differences in the way the different sects explain the four types of mandalas: outer, inner, secret, and what they call the mandala of reality. They call Nanyi in Tibetan. I don't know the word, he put it here. So, the internal, all right, so who's the internal guru? The internal or inner guru is the innermost subtle consciousness of the guru. The innermost subtle consciousness, not the one that orders a sandwich or whatever. Now, that innermost subtle consciousness which your guru has is exactly similar to the innermost subtle consciousness you yourself have. The same, Chikpa, So that's a big deal. So, I don't have to do anything on the same kind? No. Let's think. What then is the difference between the two? The guru, who is in effect using this subtle consciousness in his practice, is actually experiencing it with awareness. He or she knows it's there. We only hear that it's there. We have no idea. Really, believe me. So with awareness, so that consciousness becomes a form of wisdom. They're listening deep. They're going in. And it's the same as us. So that's why they always say Buddha nature is everywhere. But you got to look and find it. And what's the metaphor they use in the Uttara Tantra, which is the description on Buddha nature? It's like a poor person starving, and a clairvoyant, a Buddha walks by. Don't you know, dig under your house. You have a diamond that's worth billions. The diamond that's worth billions is your inner guru, your Buddha nature. And that takes away all your trouble. So, when we faint, when we are dying, sometimes they say when you sneeze, other things too, but we won't mention them here. We too experience that subtle consciousness, like a flash, very fast. We don't pick it up. We're not acute. We don't have a wide, deep awareness every moment by moment going on internally. We have to practice to bring that up. That's all. It's there. It's not something we have to go buy. We'll find someone and bring it here. It's there. We just have to get rid of the garbage covering it up. And all that. So, and although that consciousness is there, although it is present, we're not aware or conscious of it. We don't know it's there. So this is a lot of baloney or what? What do you think? Oh, you have caffeine. Good. It's kicking in, right? It's the other part of it's kicking in. All right? So the real guru, the inner guru, look who's visiting us. They give you a free picture, but they don't glue it into the book. So it keeps falling out. I should leave it at home. The real guru, the inner guru, is this consciousness that exists within ourselves. We have it. It is also the inner protector, the real ultimate refuge. You carry it with you. Wow. It's not your American Express card or your phone. No. It is the experience of that state that is the real teacher. The experience of it. Not knowing you have it, I don't care. You have to experience it. Otherwise, we all have it, so I can do whatever I want. No. That is the real protector. That is the real Dharma. Thus, there is this inner guru. Now, he said, you see. He says, so you see. Now you see, we call the manifestation of that consciousness in the form of a human body the external guru. Chongla, for instance. His Holiness, Lingua, whatever your guru is. That's the embodiment in a form that we can talk to and listen to, because we can't even find our own inner guru, let alone someone else's. So they appear out of compassion when they see beings are ready, and they give us the information in the form we can understand and work with. That's it. Isn't that nice? Good. And they don't ask for anything. As for the secret guru, who's the secret guru now? We didn't talk about that. What is that? It's the special method or way that brings us to an awareness of that consciousness. That's the technique, the special methods, the special things, especially in highest yoga tantra. The sights, the smells, the sound, the taste, the this, the that. There's a reason for all that. It's not just showing off or collecting a nice check from the practitioners. No. This includes the meditations on the channels and winds and energy, chi or whatever. Channels that travels through, winds of the force, lung, I don't know what it is, what's prana in Sanskrit, right? Prana, do you know? Anyway, that's the idea, we all know. It includes breathing meditations, the generation of bliss, and developing the inner heat. So great bliss, Mahasukha, inner heat, the tumo, why it changes certain things and evokes more and more subtle consciousnesses. This isn't the normal thing that we go after blissful things for. So these techniques we call the secret guru because it is through them that we come to realize the inner guru. So how do we find this? These are the techniques. They have to be followed correctly with a good motivation or the way won't work. Anything tantric without bodhicitta, forget it. It's a joke. It's very nice, but it's not going to give you the results you want. Waking up the inner guru. So, sometimes the subtle consciousness is called the inner guru. Sometimes it's called the ultimate guru. In any case, the two terms are synonymous. You could call it inner, you could call it up to ultimate. Anyway, time for espresso. The choice is yours. Can you follow this so far? Think it makes sense? There's more. It's very interesting. So, thankfully, His Holiness is still with us. There's no one like him. Amazing. According to the sutras, according to the Madhyamaka school, the absolute refers to what? To shunyata, to emptiness. That's all. When we use the term that way. Be careful of the word. Sometimes the same word means something a little different. As you ascend on the path, you get more spiritually advanced. You have to be careful. So when you read, you don't assign it a meaning in this context that it doesn't have. A lot of confusion occurs that way. Took me 40 years to figure this out. So anyway, what?
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky, but some good teachers will stop all this. Your friend Simon, who's talked about things like this with him, he knows.
Sometimes you're like, you rest in like, yes, this is it. How could it have been any
It's
other
always
way?
it, I know.
And then 5 years later, or 10 years later, you're like, I think that's so certain.
Sometimes next week, he's
Yeah.
what the hell was I
so
thinking?
certain. And then you come to the same feeling, I'm like, now this is the right.
This is the right. That's it's me too. That's all of us. But we're having a good time. It's better than anything else we can do in this life. So, it's all right. Sometimes the Madhyamaka school, the absolute refers to shunyata or emptiness. In the Anuttara Yoga Tantras, the highest Yoga Tantra, Anuttara means highest Yoga Tantra. However, the word absolute has two meanings. It can refer either to shunyata itself or to this special type of subtle consciousness. Not the ordinary vulgar levels of mind, however. He knows me. The ordinary vulgar levels of mind. However, subtle consciousness, that's what we're talking about. For the most part, when these scriptures refer to the ultimate, they are referring to the consciousness aspect, but not to ordinary consciousness, to a consciousness we call Rigpa. Have you heard of that before, Rigpa? It's all over the Nyingma literature. Rigpa, the ultimate innermost subtle consciousness. They call it Rigpa. Even when the five senses are not active or asleep, we don't hear, we don't smell, we don't taste, the subtle consciousness is still there. Though normally it is overpowered by the senses as we walk around. We can't even get out. The one thing that can guide us, suppress, by habit, over all the years we've been alive, with different lives. You see, His Holiness says, all the senses are individual types of consciousnesses. The eye consciousness, the ear consciousness. And now he says something interesting. The eye consciousness has color, shape, and so forth as its object. The ear consciousness perceives sounds, etc. Okay, we got that. Even though they are all different, having different objects, nonetheless, they are all of the same nature, of the nature of knowing. They're all knowers. All right, he's going to take it even farther now. Watch this. They may come to know through different means, through the eye, through the ear, whatever, but they are still in the nature of knowing. This aspect they have in common we call shepa, knowing. Now the rigpa, which we can call awareness, now they're separating awareness from knowing, right? This innermost subtle consciousness is also of the nature of knowing. It knows something. It too is a, quote, knower. Just as the eye consciousness is a knower, so both the coarser sense consciousnesses and the more subtle rigpa are of the nature of knowing. They are both knowers. He's repeating this for a reason. Watch him when he does it. The coarser types of consciousness come to know something. How? Because of the subtle consciousness. It's running the whole show. It gets gross at levels of the eye, the ear, nose, but it's still. So that is a pathway down into the subtlest consciousness. Why they have ceremonies with big sights, with smells, envisioning dakinis or whatever. There's a reason. not just hanging, advertising or something. No, no. The basic nature of knowing thus comes from is due to the existence of a subtle consciousness. Even during moments when the sense organs are very active, if we rely on the instructions of a proper experienced teacher, we can separate the two experiences, the gross and the subtle. We can separate them. We don't now. The gross consciousness shows, you're all out there with whatever the eye is picking up, the ear picking up the music, etc. But underneath, powering that is the subtlest consciousness. Can we separate them? Can we take that road down to the subtle consciousness? I don't know. So we can separate the two experiences, the path of the coarser consciousness from the path of the subtle. Okay, these points, however, are difficult. I would think so. These are difficult. He's not lying. First of all, the matter being discussed is difficult. Add to the fact that the Dalai Lama's English is poor. He's so humble. And it makes for an altogether awkward situation. No, it doesn't. He's just being, that's where they are. You see, it is actually quite shameful. For quite a few years now, I've had to speak my own English, but it never comes out properly. In fact, sometimes instead of getting better, it actually declines. Why is he doing that? To put you at ease, to absorb the material, one reason. There's probably many others that I can't figure out. But I noticed the highest lamas do that, very self-effacing. So does this make sense or what? Is this a lot of garbage? A nice, pleasant way to hear things at night before you go home? Or whatever. Any thoughts, any complaints? So you see, yeah, go ahead.
Is the subtlest part of consciousness then the experience of awareness?
Yes.
That's like ongoing, it's happening moment by moment, but if you were to focus closer and closer to that moment, it would be like the sensor, it would be like that sensor plate, I guess.
Sense, you said?
Like a sensor plate or something, like the part of your cell that's registering the experiences around it, or so on, If you're going, as you're microscopically analyzing, going deeper.
They call it like a wall, and that wall would be the experience of the awareness, like.
Yes, while you experience all these things, like you heard the siren now, you could also, part of your mind is aware, this is a siren coming in, and that's supposed to be pure. That's not carrying, I can't stand that person, this one I like, all the garbage we throw up all the time. So I know, that's there, and it's a path, that's why sometimes Rinpoche used to say the blissful consciousness is the most important. Accompanying these realizations, closer and closer to deep emptiness, is bliss. Great bliss, not just the bliss about this little thing, but Mahasukha, Om Mahasukha. They stimulate the senses. A little taste of alcohol, sometimes in the salt, a little taste, this or that. To travel that path from the senses down deep, to enhance a bliss consciousness, which is pure. Everything he used to say before you say a sadhana, everything is thought of by great bliss. He said, when you're going to say your prayers or something, to start with, great bliss is the effect of the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is when you hit that subtlest consciousness. That's a big deal. To understand it fully, I don't know. But it is a big deal.
So the subtlest consciousness is the subtlest clear-light mind?
Yes, I would think it's that.
Yeah.
The most subtle, clear light
Clear-light
mind,
mind.
from which all forms come out of, all creation comes out of.
And the clear-light mind / wind? Mind, wind?
Always, anytime there's a mind, there's a wind powering it. It's like horse and rider. The horse doesn't know where to go, but he can sure run fast. The rider knows he can't run. He can't run as fast. So the two of them are always what they call in biology symbiotic relationship. And Chungla does this. And they like this. They always have something visual to help people understand. So like this.
And another question is, so the clear-light mind is the first subject that His Holiness discussed in a guru. Is that
The inner guru is the most subtle consciousness. He's calling it in this. Sometimes he calls it other things, but here it's most subtle consciousness.
So it
Yeah, I would think so, because in the death manuals which we're following, the clear light mind is the final, subtlest consciousness. You can understand that this is the clear light with the awareness component. You break everything
Because
open.
that's the Buddha nature.
That's the Buddha nature.
So that's the
Yeah,
inner Guru.
I would think so. The inner guru. Ultimate guru too. There's nothing better than that.
And then the inner Guru and outer Guru seems like explanation is like a Buddha's body.
The outer guru, sometimes called what, Rupakaya, Namanakaya, whatever, the body, because we can't define our own inner guru. And we can't see beings that are in the Sambhogakaya, the glorified state, and when you see the Buddhas with the marks and all that, that's Sambhogakaya. We can't see that. We see someone, saw Rinpoche, an older man, tired, hoarse voice, until he opens his mouth and starts teaching, and you realize, ooh. And then he points things out to you you weren't sure of yourself. And 10 years later, you realize, oh, it's very important to have the outer guru, because without it, they point out. Sometimes in Dzogchen, they give you pointing out instructions. Let me show you awareness for a brief splash. Now, in the dying process, what's happening, naturally, the mind is getting more and more and more subtle. Certain levels, there's no more anger, there's no more jealousy, there's no more this. We can go through that in the next few months if we have. So whether you're Buddhist or not, this happens to you. So, yes, so you can go through this process. Oh, now the earth element is dissolving. I feel like somebody has to hold me up and all this. At that time, more and more subtle minds are coming up. We're not used to them. We freak out. We can go unconscious and the whole thing passes us by. Most people, when they die, all these steps like that, and you miss the opportunity. But you're being shown your clear light mind. Can you hold that? Can you work with that? All the highest yoga tantras, the sadhanas, method of accomplishment, do that symbolically. And now there's and then this and then that. And we run through them every day. You have to say it every day. So let me have something. It's nice, but that's not the way to do it. Those things prepare you for death. And that's why we harp on death all the time. Not to be, we're going to die, we're going to die. Initially, yeah, you got to understand we're not here forever, because otherwise, why would you start studying this? But don't you want to feel good? And the innermost mind is blissful. Isn't that nice? You don't have to buy a car. You don't have to do this. You carry around your inner bliss. So it's a bargain. It's cheap. I don't know. But that's,
What do they say that the experience of the clear light mind is, or is like? Have you read it?
a lot of luminosity sometimes. And then there's, I wouldn't go that far, because I only take from the book, my own thing, and I have no experience of it, so I wouldn't know. But they do say that people, untrained people, could be very freaked out as the mind's getting more, I'm being destroyed, I'm being annihilated. Sometimes when you initially see emptiness the first time, not through words, so yeah, that makes sense. No, but really see it like you could see your hand now. People freak out because they're not, it's the way things really are. Things already are empty. We're not creating something. We just cover it up with our false projections. Suddenly they're removed. Ah! No, you're still here. You can grab your leg, your collar like one of Sankaba's disciples. It's not that you suddenly are not, but it's not the way you thought everything was. I'm sorry. And the way you think things are causes you to suffer. You want to suffer? Go right ahead. I mean, they don't talk that way. They say, please don't suffer. But anyway, I don't know. The experience of clear light, and sometimes I use the term luminosity all the time. Blissful, light. And then, as you die, there's a brief thing where there's a clear light, and then you either hold that clear light and ride it to Buddhahood, or it passes you by, you go into the bardo. And the bardo, another chance to become enlightened. You're clairvoyant. You could think of a place you can go there. But if you're not trained and you can't bring up this, you suddenly in the bardo see something you're attracted to. You don't actually see your parents in physical form. There's something that some other Lama described it. Trango Rinpoche described it, what being in the bardo thinks and sees. But their habit patterns are projecting them into another life rather than going to full enlightenment. So as they're being born, they miss that opportunity to again attain Buddhahood. So there's 3 times, at death, in the bardo, and at rebirth, when you can hit that subtle consciousness, work it, and realize, that's my true nature. And then, yes.
So the moment when the clear mind appears, the mind realizing emptiness of clear mind.
With bliss. And it's very quick. But some of these people, when they die, they stay there 13 days in the clear light. They're already Buddhas, like Ling Rinpoche, 13 days in the clear, and took them in 1983 when he died. And of course we said, oh, the prayers would return, and at that time I said, well, maybe it works, I don't know. And then he came back, and then I met him, and it's the same guy in some ways. He's bigger than the one before, but same, you could see. Serkang Rinpoche, same thing. I knew him in his previous reincarnation. He was Kukuma. They call that in Tibetan Kukuma, your predecessor, you know. And this guy doesn't look anything like Serkang Rinpoche. Serkang Rinpoche was the inspiration for Yoda. The original with the big ears and everything. This guy's movements and the way he attacks a problem are exactly the same. And he was a great Lama. He's very well read. And this guy is perfect, and he likes espresso. When he comes to the house, we always give him 2 espresso. So, as far as I'm concerned, these are full Buddha.
Speaking of the beings and incarnations, I was asked over the weekend how do Buddhists define sentient beings with no sense of I? How do we?
I think they all have some coarse sense of I. We all have a sense of I. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's a sense of self that's
Yes.
of the being altogether with the matrix, like that's making you up, but it's not
An inherent I, like that we
Right.
can point to. But even, and then I use Rinpoche's example of like you turn on the light, the roach grows. He has sense of self, or it has
Sense of self, exactly. Yeah, so we have a New York example. Turn on like roach run. Yeah, remember that? I fell out.
Then I use like the wave and the ocean analogy, whereas
The surface mind.
they just appear. And
That's a
oh,
good.
I got it. Okay.
So that's a good thing he brought up. Sometimes they say, well, the mind that's all chattering is still the mind, and it's still connected to the subtle. It's just like the sense consciousness driven by the most subtle mind. All these thoughts we have going all over the place, they're part of the mind. So they use the ocean as a metaphor to make you understand. The top of the ocean's like this. It's really crazy sometimes. Way down deep, it's over. Mind is the same way. So try to remember that when you go crazy and you're online for 2 hours with a call center and they don't, and then they hang up on you, all these little things, that anxious mind, etc., still got its home in the most subtle Buddha nature mind. So, you know, maybe someday that'll work for me. I'm getting excited, but they sort of convince you that's the way it is. I don't know. I wish.
He says.
That's the word adventitious, but it's the afflictions adventitious.
Right, they're not the nature of the mind. Right, the nature, and when you study death, all the stuff, as the physical part of your body that's supporting the mind now starts to drop away. All of these concepts we have of this and that will start to go away. They're not of our nature. That's the reason why they study death in such a depth. They go like this, and now, you know, the mind and consciousness is always attached to the body. The body is the energy. There never is a time when mind, energy and consciousness are separate. They're always together. So in Tantra, you're working with the energies to bring up certain minds sometimes. There's all kinds of subtle techniques. It can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. That's why you need a teacher at that point, and a teacher that knows you. Or maybe someone will appear out of nowhere. The Buddha will come and form themselves, which I think some of these lamas actually are, fully enlightened and walking around as normal beings. Sometimes even dogs and cats, they say. My cat, I don't know. My 2 cats, they're very annoying sometimes. Sometimes they're very nice. So I don't know. Trying to check the time so we don't miss the train. But so what we'll be doing the next few weeks, this book, Power of Compassion, is a commentary on the first Panchen Lama's 17 verses on the dying process. His Holiness goes verse by verse. I'm going to try, Darren will try and Xerox this next week or so, and so everybody will have the root text. That's imprint your mind with that so you'll meet it again and all that, at least. So we could pick up with the 4th verse now. We have a few minutes. This is now moving into this thing which is supposed to be the power of compassion, is moving into the teachings on death. And then to enhance them with the more detailed Dalai Lama Art of Dying, which starts off with the first page, Tibetan proverb, everyone dies but nobody's dead. That's nice to know. Makes sense when you think about it. The subtle conscious can't be destroyed. It's always around. It's not physical. No weight, no electric charge, no location. You can't see it. There was a slice of my mind over here, and those like very strange. But it's running the whole show. Everything, the buildings, everything. Very, very interesting. So you're never bored at the Tibet Center. So let's see. I marked the page, and then the marker fell out. So yeah. Here's a quick one. In tantric practice, we find a lot of emphasis, page 29, placed on death-related meditations, also reflections upon the process of death. Not only of death. So the individual, a lot of emphasis placed on death, the processes of death-related meditation, reflections on the process of death, so that the individual at the time of death not only retains his or her presence of mind, you got to remember these, presence of mind. I heard this, oh yeah, this is happening now. They said bright white light appears, radiant red, radiant black, boom. Oh, that's what's going on now. Every day you go over that, so then when it's actually happening, you're not freaking out. Why is everything red? Somebody turn on the red light? No, there's a reason for that. The red drops coming down. The white drops coming up, why you see them. Very interesting. All these things you think are happening out of nowhere. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. So we'll also be in a position then to utilize that subtle state of consciousness effectively towards the realization of the path. It is because of this that we find many tantric meditations, technically known as the deity yoga meditations. Why? Because they are meditations on deities. These meditations on deities involve the dissolution process from the grossest body to the subtlest clear mind. The earth element dissolves. The water element dissolves. It means I'm thirsty. Fire element, I'm freezing. Things like that. And there are outer signs. There are inner signs. People around you could see the outer signs. The limbs are weak. You look shrunk. They don't see your inner signs unless they're a yogi, yogini, whatever. So, but you see them. You, the dying person. Reflecting upon the dissolution of elements who have the individual experiences at the point of death. In fact, from the tantric perspective, the entire process of existence is explained in terms of the 3 stages known as death, intermediate state, and rebirth. We covered that. All these 3 stages of existence are seen as states or manifestations of the consciousness and the energies that accompany or propel the consciousnesses. So this is from this book on page 29 of Power of Compassion. So that the intermediate state and rebirth are nothing other than various levels of the subtle consciousness and energy. So that's what's going on. The more you know what's going on, the more you start to put together pieces in your mind. And more confidence. It comes up. We're hearing this now. We're supposed to think about this. If we do, it rewards us. When we forget about it and worry about, who's playing a game tonight or whatever, then that's not going to work. So, one quick thing more, well, we'll leave it alone. Here, the question really is, I'm skipping around to page 31. The question really is, what makes it possible for certain physical substances or physiological states, body states, physical substances, to give rise to a mental event or a state of awareness? Listen, smoke this, man. It's something like that. The Buddhist, particularly the tantric explanations, points towards what is known as the subtle, clear light state. Okay, he's calling it what you call it, which can be seen as independent from a physiological base. Yes, it is. But when you're in this body, it's affected by it. And it is this clear light state of mind which is the most subtle level of consciousness, in which, when it interacts with the physiological base, when it hits the gross body, gives rise to all our consciousness and cognitive events. So our cognitive events do depend on physical forces in the body, the different winds that do this, down voiding, upward moving. We'll go through all that. You know, one makes you warm, one makes you defecate, or one brings up this, one brings up that. Movement is depending on a wind. So we'll leave that alone right now, because we'll go over this thoroughly next session. There is no class Wednesday night, Christmas Eve. Nikki said no, nobody'd show up anyway. It's dangerous to drive, at least these are the Jersey classes. The Monday classes are not affected, because next Monday is not the eve of anything. It's the eve of Tuesday. So no New Year's Eve, no Christmas Eve classes, online or he said no, just nothing. So when Darren kills the outing, I'll tell you what's going on Christmas Day, if you need to be there. So anyone to pray for? You had Jane's names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to pray for people who passed away by reciting the Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I'm trying to stay on schedule, I'm sorry. Merrill Greenblatt. Anyone else? That actor who committed suicide, Ranson, from very sad. His wife was very upset.
46.
From The Wire, yeah, 46. Too bad he didn't meet Buddha's teachings. I hope someday he does. We'll pray for him. Maybe that'll set something up. We have to think that way, that we're not just making noise. So I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavata, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who rise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavat is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy, it is trustworthy, and puts an end to the journey. As for the song of the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the discipline. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. So 8 verses for training the mind. So using these bad situations, turning them to the path. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. This prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, written by His Holiness. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Luzang Tubuang Doje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you, till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Losang Tempe, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels. Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation sprays moonlight face. So thank you very much. This concludes tonight's presentation. No Dharma talk on Wednesday night, Christmas Eve. This Saturday, however, the 27th, is White Tara at the parsonage in South Orange. Our website tells you how to get there. At 1 o'clock, there's the White Tara Sadhana, Method of Accomplishment, and then we have a nice feast. We have vegetarian and non-vegetarian, and Leon tells us what to eat, brings us mugwort tea, and tells us to be quiet. Anyway, you're all welcome. Everyone is welcome. Buddhists and we don't care. And then the following Monday night, there is class, the 29th, right here on 30th Street in Midtown Manhattan. So thank you very much. Your kind, big patience, big love to all of you. Thank you.